I would just get so angry if I felt like everyone was lying about me all the time. Like, don't you ever feel like just...
Emma, let's have a chat, Emma. Okay. You're a savvy businesswoman. You've made billions according to Forbes, Emma. You haven't read anything about this woman? You haven't read all the contrary headlines and articles about this woman, from Vanity Fair to Hollywood Reporter, all the allegations out there, all the bodies she's left in her wake on both continents. She's going to placate this woman and say, oh yeah, I can't imagine what it would feel like to know that everyone's lying about me all the time. Are you serious, Emma? You're way too smart for this crap. She's dwindling her husband's legacy and his fortune so that she can constantly try to reposition herself and reframe her narrative to us and just be like, see, I'm actually really, really nice. I'm really nice. I have a Netflix show and I make like killer bath salts that like burn people's skin when they come in my house and take a bath. And I'm a mom and I read to my kids and I drive them to school. So I'm like really nice. And like I have rosé and spread and sauce and it's really yummy. And I actually care because I made all these recipes in my house and you need to buy them because I'm really nice. I'm really nice. I'm nice. She won't go away. That's the problem, Emma. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jennifer. I am so happy to have you here. Thank you for joining me on this ongoing torture journey. I know it's torture, but at the same time, we are learning so much. We're learning so much about how to spot the narcissist. I do not even know what part we're on. 3, 4, 5, probably 3, maybe 4, depending on how long all this takes in the editing process. But we're only about 34 minutes into the podcast. And where we left off, Meghan is talking about when she was an actress. And she will attempt to convey the idea that her resilience that she developed while she was acting is what gives her such a sharp head for business. So let's get into it, shall we? Hope you have a tasty beverage.
Talking yourself out of it or talking yourself into negative self-talk is not valuable as a founder. So how have you trained yourself to do that?
So she talked about how negative self-talk is not valuable as a founder and walking into the landscape, okay? She just did her second launch and the orders for her apricot spread and her rosé, everything has since sold out. So everything that she said about planning for this and to make sure that people that have supported her over the years would be able to get the products and order them because that's important for her. She doesn't want people going on her website and experiencing customer fatigue at not getting something because she doesn't want to raise their ire. She wants them to be happy and satisfied. And, every touch point, as she would say, of the customer service experience is going to be well thought out. And she doesn't want to disappoint anybody. Well, that's exactly what has happened. And not only that, but so many people got an email that was a lot more impersonal this time around for the second launch than it was the first time around. The first time around, when the raspberry sauce sold out, there was like a personalized email from her saying, Meghan. And now it's just from the as ever team. So she's already not really engaging in the customer service experience. She's now even more removed from it. And they're promising full refunds. And they're also promising to give people that didn't get the apricot sauce, I'm going to call it sauce, they're calling it spread on the website, that they're going to get a full free replacement. And I'm thinking to myself, how is that a profitable business? Why don't you make it so that you have enough supply on hand at the onset to satisfy the demand? Did you not learn anything from the first launch? So you're going to become a successful female founder by botching it up again for the second launch, not having a supply to meet the demand, annoying and pissing off customers, and then telling them they're going to get a full refund and a full free replacement, just on them as soon as they're available to ship out. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, just wow. And there has been a few creators. One of them, I believe, was a Royal Daily Tea, who said that She got a refund, but did not get the shipping costs when she ordered the apricot spread. Someone correct me if that was incorrect, but that's what I remember hearing. So isn't that, how is that legal? You're supposed to refund the entire amount, but we will get into that in just a sec. So now Emma's going to talk about, where did you develop your head for business? Where did you get all this resilience that you have? Where did it come from? And Meghan's going to try to draw the parallels between being a fighter in business and succeeding in business with everything that she learned as a working actress. So here we go.
Do you think that comes from your background as an actress?
Could be. I mean, yeah, when I was an auditioning actress, and this is well before Suits, you have to think at that time.
There she goes, touching her nose again. Like, stop smelling your fingers, Meghan. You're gross.
There were certainly not a lot of mixed race parts.
Really?
No.
Really?
Emma doesn't buy this crap. And guess what? I don't either. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I grew up in Southern California. I am half white, half Mexican. My dad is Mexican American and my mom is from Canada. She's first generation Canadian from Ukrainian immigrants, and my father is 100% Mexican American. So I'm half too. And she's always trying to portray the fact that she's biracial as this negative. Just listen to how she describes this.
No, there weren't a lot of, if I was going in for an audition, it was either, you have to remember, this was a very different time than it is now. It was.
She's talking about the early 2000s. What the heck is she talking about? I've never, as a woman, felt limited being biracial. And I was around tons of friends of color that never felt limited either. She's so full of crap.
As Girl Next Door. That was typically blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and a certain look. But because I'm half white, I would also be submitted for those roles. And then if it was a character that had any sort of ethnicity, there was.
Notice her looking off, trying to figure out what to say. She didn't entirely rehearse this talking point because whenever she's like this, it's not rehearsed. But she's going to try to frame this as a negative. When wouldn't you think that if you were half white, half black, wouldn't you have an advantage because you're actually up for more parts, not just the white parts, not just the black parts, or not just the Latina parts, because she said that she would often be mistaken for Latina as well.
There was always a bit of a edge to those characters, but I'd be submitted for those roles. And I also, to a lot of people in casting, they thought I was Latina. So I share that because, and I've shared this before.
So I share that to show how privileged I am, but I'm still going to complain about it.
It was a numbers game. If I'm only up for 10 parts, that could be 10 no's. But if I'm up for 30 parts, because I can fit into so many different rooms, that could be 30 no's.
Yes, but it could also be 20 more chances than the person that's only up for 10. Do you see how she does this? I always say this, but it's so true. She takes a positive and frames it as a negative, and a negative and frames it as a positive. Rather than saying, I am so lucky being biracial that I was able to go up for 30 parts rather than 10, she's framing it as, oh, I was rejected 30 times. Well, maybe you were rejected 30 times because you weren't that great of an actress. Stop complaining all the time. Where does gratitude come into this equation? Does it ever factor into any story that she tells? Absolutely not. So this is how we spot a narcissist. They are always put upon, and everything is something happening to them. It's not an opportunity to learn. It's not an opportunity to be grateful for all the chances that you've been given. Ugh, yuck, 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 yuck.
That is a lot to chip away at your self-esteem. That is really hard. And while she was crawling in and out of the back window of the crappy car that she got from her dad. Remember how she tried to make it seem like she was driving around town in a dilapidated, I don't even remember what type of car it was. And then her half-sister Samantha Markle was like, that is so not true. Our dad got her a nice car. Like, she was not driving around in like some freaking gremlin from Wayne's World or something. I think so much of that. Like, I went through my chapter of self-doubt as an auditioning actor and beyond that. And when you're so consumed with what everyone around you thinks of you.
She still is, by the way. She still is very consumed.
That can be a really hard way to live.
Well, that is the reality that you've carved out for yourself, Megan, because you are still very, very active in the prove it game and you still do care a ton about what everyone says about you, a ton. And maybe if you told the truth, you wouldn't have to be worried about it. Maybe if you didn't have to hide behind so many versions of your truth and struggle to keep track of all the narratives that you've been trying to feed us for freaking almost a decade now. Gross.
So I think as I've gotten older, certainly in my 40s and as a mom, you want.
There she goes again. As a mom. Yeah, as a mom, you'd think you'd want to tell the truth more. You'd think you want to leave something for your children, some type of like nice life, not this dumpster fire that you created for them that they're going to have to put out because you're constantly just
you want to set the example for what your children are going to think about themselves.
Yeah, you would
and
think.
That you can't have an imposter syndrome around.
No way.
Here she goes again. She doesn't know what imposter syndrome means. She's a know-it-all who doesn't tell the truth. And that's the legacy that she's building for her children. And now poor little Archie and poor little Lily, and I won't say Lilibet because I know it angers so many of you guys. So many of you guys leave comments on my channel. I've seen them as comments on other creators' channels where you guys get very angry when we say Lilibet because, you know, we all know that Meghan and Harry stole that cherished nickname from Her Late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And while that is infuriating, a part of me really feels like however this child came into existence, and I personally believe that she used a surrogate. That's just my opinion. It's still not the poor kid's fault, but, and you know, it's sad. I don't even like saying Lilibet, so I won't say it either. I'll say Lily, but I digress. You know, I'm always going off on my tangents here, but that's the mess that she has left for that poor little boy and that poor little girl.
Right. You have to be so authentically the role model and the example of competence, self-forgiveness, kindness.
The problem is she's so self-forgiving that she never admits to any wrongdoing. That's the problem. Meghan.
Fun. All of those things, you can't fake that. You want to model that for them. So all of that really shifted in the past 6 years of becoming a mom for me.
Yeah, no, I really understand that. And I think that you're completely right. Are there practices that you have to tune out self-doubt? Like, are there things that you do in your day?
You know what I just realized? I'm going to speed this puppy up to like 15% faster because, like I said before, you have a life, I have a life. So yeah, let's continue.
I wish I could say that I meditated every day. Or I don't. And
go to church, Meghan. Go to church. Go to church. I know you were confirmed in the Anglican church, so go participate in the sacrament of Holy Communion. Have Christ be the manna for your perilous journey. Don't get me wrong, we're all sinners, but this woman needs to atone. Bad.
And then when I say to someone, like, I don't have time to meditate, they say, well, you should meditate twice as long. And that's really cute that you need to do it twice. I would love to take my own advice and say meditate. I don't. I jump right into things. I will always.
And then she jumps right back out as quick as she got into them. You can already see that happening with the 2 podcasts, like we talked about in episode 1. You would think that she would want to really get in there. Podcasts, if you got a good one and you don't even have to be that interesting. Just be a good interviewer and let your guest shine and talk to the guest and ask them really valuable and interesting questions that's really going to spark a lively conversation that's going to get the audience like wanting to hear all about that person. She can't even do that because she's always bringing it around to herself. So the podcasts, all like she starts something and then she stops. She starts, she stops. It's just, that is what narcissists who have a grandiose sense of self and they don't like criticism. They don't want to admit when maybe they've started something and it's a little subpar. Maybe they need to hang back, course correct, evaluate, go in there, change things. No, it's like she doesn't like any kind of criticism. So if you don't say that it's 100% the best thing that's ever come out of whatever the heck she's trying to do, then she either deflects, acts like you're not criticizing it, or she dumps it and moves on to the next thing.
Always phone a friend when I'm having moments. And I'm very fortunate to have a lot of female friends that are founders who have been through some version.
Are you calling on them?
Of course. I'm so lucky in that regard. Oh my gosh, guess what?
She's calling Jamie and she's like, Jamie, my apricot spread sold out and everybody's so mad. And then Jamie says, well, how many units? Oh, I don't know why they have the same voice, but anyway, for the purposes of this demonstration, they have the same voice. I don't know why, Megan. How many units did you sell? Was it only 47 like last time? Maybe that's why you sold out so fast. And that's why your customers are so mad at you. And then that's when Megan says, shut up, Jamie. I don't want to listen to anything you have to say. That is such a Gen X thing, like when you go like this when you're talking, because no one talks on a phone like this anymore and you got to hang up. Now it's like you got to go on your phone and hang up. I think I saw a video where the alphas and the Zers, they don't understand when people are like this. And then they, when they're talking and then they go to hang up because they're like, what is that? Because this to them is hanging up on somebody. All right, I'm just a psycho. Okay,
just happened. I think that's totally normal, Meg. Totally normal. Just power through it. So talking to someone who's been
power through it. I have an idea. Why don't you, Megan? I'm Jamie. Why don't you, Megan, actually have the supply and stop refunding everyone and then giving them free stuff? I didn't do that for It Cosmetics. That's how I became a billionaire. And then Megan says, I don't want to hear this, Jamie. I hate you. Stop telling me that my brand isn't the best ever. That's Megan hanging up on Jamie. So she calls her female founder friends. And that's, I think that's probably how those conversations go. Probably.
Through it and is on the other side of it with tremendous success is valuable to get a mentor. But no, I mean, I try to hike. I try to connect with outdoors. I definitely make time for.
Yeah, she hikes in her huge hats and her Cartier jewelry with Marcus Anderson.
For my children, I make time for date nights. I have to make time for balance. See a perspective. You can be so in the weeds of building a business, but you have got to find a moment to look up and see that there's a lot more going on around you than just that.
Well, it seems to me like if that is really true and she's saying that she has to have a work-life balance and she takes the time to put her head up and see everything that's going on around her, that's not her business. That's probably not the best tactic for her to be taking right now. Because everything that's going on from this new launch, from this apricot spread stuff to this rosé stuff. And by the way, who the heck, because you couldn't buy just one bottle of this dang wine. You had to buy either 3 or 9 or 12. Who the H is going to want to buy a bottle of wine that they've never tasted before? If she was serious about this crap, she would be going to specialty wine stores like Total Wine or the different places that sell. That's what we have in the US. I can't even talk today. I'm sorry. But she would be going into stores and she would have people out there with the peeps at those little tables that they set up, like in grocery stores, like H-E-B's and Kroger's and, Trader Joe's and these liquor stores where the people can try those little mini samples and they try them. That's what you do to really get the word out to see if it's even good. I'm telling you right now, this is my personal opinion. If the minimum, and it was what, $30 a bottle, anywhere from $12 to $15 shipping. Who the heck is going to want to buy sight unseen a bottle of wine unless they're like freaking burning money right now in their backyard? Give me a break, Megan.
You have to. Otherwise, I think your judgment is skewed.
Let me fast forward to this nonsense. But I could see that maybe if you were in, say, a restaurant and it was like a special occasion, or, maybe if you have money and you can go out and spend for a bottle of wine when you're at a restaurant. Great. Awesome. Good for you. But no matter where you fall, you would probably be at a restaurant talking to your waiter and asking, hey, what do you recommend? What kind of wine is this? Da, 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 da. And then you have a conversation. But again, you're speaking with someone about it. If you listen to her description about that wine that she's peddling right now, she says that it's a taste of stone fruit. And she talks about it's got a minerality to it or something with a lasting finish. That's how she's describing this wine. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound really good to me. I don't want a lasting finish. Like, how long are we lasting here? Do you have a gross aftertaste in your mouth for 25 minutes after drinking it? It's seems gross to me. I'm sorry. And also, it does not look like a nice, soft, blushy pink, like the way a rosé is supposed to look. Please.
There are skills that you got from your days as an actress that are transferable into this new entrepreneurial world that you're in.
Of course. I mean, again, having a thick skin, partnerships and the value of, having great relationships when you're building certainly lots of different SKUs is key. And so a piece of advice I was given years ago as an auditioning actress was don't try to book the part, book the room. Meaning it doesn't matter if you don't get that role. You might not be right for it. You might remind the director of an ex-girlfriend that broke his heart.
Huh? What?
It could be any number of reasons. It's not about the part. You're going to see those producers and those casting directors at so many other opportunities. Book the room. Let them see that you're talented. Let them see you have something to bring.
You know what? This is how I think that as a narcissist, in my opinion, a malignant narcissist, this is how she kind of fumbles and bumbles her way through life. Where, for example, working the room, she talks about wanting, sorry guys, I'm like struggling with this stupid earbud here. Well, it's not an earbud, but it's these stupid headphone things I have. She's not taking care and concern to what she's doing at hand. For example, the royal family. That was a privilege to be married into. And rather than respecting the institution, valuing the history behind it, appreciating and respecting the fact that it is not only a family, yes, but it's also representative of a nation and a collection of nations, and trying to understand what she married into and appreciate it and do everything she can to work within that system. And nothing is perfect, but we all know how many passes she was giving, how many privileges she was given that, for example, Diana and Catherine were not. And she looked at it as a stepping stone to a wider and broader aspiration, more financially lucrative existence that she could have in the future. That's how she looked at it. So it's never what she's doing at the moment. It's what she thinks she's going to gain from it later. And that's how she treated her time in the royal family. That's how she treated her father and Trevor. It's like what they could do for her in the moment, and also looking beyond how they could benefit her in the future. And then once she gets where she perceives that she can't get anything else from that situation, she moves on. And that's what I think is happening here with this As Ever brand. She's fumbling and she's bumbling. To what end? I believe for several ends. It's benefiting her to constantly have her name out here in the news, whether people are praising it or criticizing it. I would say 80% of the talk out there is critical versus, her sycophant fans that are saying that, there was even a few of them saying, oh yeah, anything that, if you want to refund us, it's okay. Keep your money. We just want her to be happy. And I'm like, okay, those people are lunatics. I mean, just like Meghan, just give everyone your email and just tell your fans to PayPal you and just give you money. Why even have the pretense of having a company? But anyway, I digress. So yeah, point being, it's largely critical what's going on, what's the talk about her, not positive, but she doesn't care as long as people are talking about her. So that's one of the things that she's getting out of this little endeavor she's trying right now. Everyone's talking about it, and maybe she can make a little bit of money, but she's not making the type of money that is going to be representative of a successful company. So why is she doing this? But personally, I just see a completely privileged, affluent woman who married into money, and she's using her husband's money. He's a prince. She's using this, or his money rather, as a little hobby to fund this little company that she can dabble and have fun and still make her relevant in the news. That's what I see happening here.
Treat them with kindness. All of those relationships end up coming to fruition. You don't know when, but just like with life, relationships matter. So I learned that in the very long road of auditioning, for sure.
Do you ever miss acting?
Yeah, but she's talking about relationships matter when you think of acting, but going out on auditions, meeting casting directors and all that, that's not so much about relationship. Yeah, it's about relationships in a business sense, but it's still transactional. You're going out and you're showing the casting director, the production team, the director, I have this persona, this to offer you for the role to help make your production, your movie, your TV show a success. And the director's looking for people that are going to really, really make that project a success and to make it a financial success. So it's a transactional type of relationship. But even in that sense, she's not good at maintaining those types of things, because as soon as she gets what she wants out of people, she just ghosts them. So if this is how she's behaving for business relationships, treating them like transactions, like what she's doing now, imagine what she's like behind closed doors in her personal life. And we've seen it. We've seen how she discards everyone in her life. The only person sitting at that wedding in May 2018, looking very sheepish and uncomfortable, I might add, was Doria. And we all know why Doria was there. In my personal opinion, almost as if to say, in case anything doesn't go my way, you know what, I'm going to cry, starting with an R and ending with an M. My opinion.
Sometimes, but you know what, actually having a large team, being back on set with Love Meghan was great, because I realized how much I had missed my crew. I love being around a crew.
Yeah, it must be hard to let that go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard being around people that are paid to be around me. I miss that so much. Mind you, she doesn't miss her family. She doesn't allow her husband to miss his family, but she misses the people that were paid to show up and be her friends. I mean, sure, you can have camaraderie with people on the set and form relationships, and lots of actors do, but it was known and it was documented in a lot of interviews and a lot of books and articles and things that she was notoriously difficult to work for. Very, very diva-esque behavior. So I never bought that she was so in love with the Suits crew and the Suits crew was so in love with her. I mean, when they were talking about that reboot and all that kind of stuff, they even said in interviews, we don't have her number. We do not have her number. And it's not like she invited the entirety of the cast and crew to her wedding. She's full of it. She's so full of it. And this is what narcissists do. They try to rewrite history and try to make it seem a lot more flowery and a lot more sentimental and a better experience than it really was, rather than try to frame it as, you know what, I wasn't the best to the cast and crew a lot of the time. I was going through a lot of stuff, but this is what, no, never. You'll never, ever hear that from this woman.
That was different. And also it was such a unique time because we couldn't say that I was leaving necessarily. It was speculated. So after 7 years on the series, we couldn't have a going away party. I couldn't say my goodbyes.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know. So my crew's watching it. I've missed you guys. I wish I could have said bye.
Do you miss them?
That's assuming that they're all watching. And I'm at 15% faster. Part of me feels like I just want to make it even faster. I mean, she's so boring, you guys. But this is good stuff. Watching her manipulate and make up false narratives, it's tedious because we've just seen this so many times, but it is a gold mine when it comes to talking about what not to do and how not to treat people and how not to lie. How much easier this woman's life would be if she just didn't engage in all this tomfoolery all the time.
Oh yeah, we work with people for 7 years.
Yes.
For 7 years, that's a really strong connection, and I loved the crew. So I think for me, having the series, even though it wasn't scripted, was really great to get that piece back. But then also building my own business, you have a team, and that's really what I was craving as well.
Yeah, she's fumbling. I guess I'll go back to 15%. She's fumbling and bumbling this badly with a team behind her. I mean, you cannot make this up.
I can imagine that. Yeah. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the public narrative, because when you sign up to be an actress, you know that people are going to start recognizing you. They're going to start speaking to you on the street. But that's very different from what you have now.
It is, Emma. It's very different.
No shit.
Totally condescending. It is. I'm a Duchess.
I wonder, and listen, I want to say this to you in the best way, because I wonder if you could rewrite your public narrative from scratch. Is there anything that you would do differently?
Yes, I would ask people to tell the truth.
Yes, I would ask people to tell the truth.
You're very measured about it. I mean,
I go into this in another video, the one that I forget what the title of it, but the thumbnail says there's no rest for the wicked. And I go into this particular portion of the interview in detail. So I will link that down below for you guys if you have not seen it. It's a hot button one for a lot of us out there to watch her say that She wishes people would have told the truth about her. And I won't go too much into it here, but let's just say there's still no personal accountability for anything that this woman has done since she married into the royal family. Zero, zip, zilch. No accountability, no self-introspection. It's always everyone else's problem. It's always everyone else's fault. All the negative headlines, all the whisperings, the bullying allegations, the family fallouts, not her problem, guys. Because no one's telling the truth. It's a huge conspiracy. Everyone is lying about her. And everyone's jealous of her. We're all jealous. Did you know that as you're sitting here watching this right now, you're so jealous of her? And you don't tell the truth either. We should all become truth tellers, you guys. We need to become truth tellers.
I feel like, I don't know, I'm such a hothead.
Are you? What's your sign?
I'm a Libra. But I know, and it's like,
please, who cares?
I don't know.
Astrological signs.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bit, ghetto with it.
If you believe in all that, that's fine. As a practicing Catholic, I do not. I used to ascribe to all that stuff when I was away from the church and away from my faith. I used to do stuff like read horoscopes and really think that that was like a cool thing and meant something. But come on, like a 43-year-old woman. What's your sign? It's like, are you still in your freaking sorority days there, girl? Give me a break.
Like a little bit hood. I would just get so angry if I felt like everyone was lying about me all the time. Like, don't you ever feel like just...
Emma. Let's have a chat, Emma. Okay. You're a savvy businesswoman. You've made billions according to Forbes, Emma. You haven't read anything about this woman? You haven't read all the contrary headlines and articles about this woman, from Vanity Fair to Hollywood Reporter, all the allegations out there, all the bodies she's left in her wake on both continents. She's going to sit there and placate this woman and say, oh yeah, I can't imagine what it would feel like to know that everyone's lying about me all the time. Are you serious, Emma? You're way too smart for this crap. When someone that's supposedly this smart and this savvy, and she's, for the most part seems pretty smart and savvy. Did she tell you to say that or something? Like, what in the holy H is going on here? That's so stupid. Okay.
That's like just being like, just leave me alone. Like, let me show you.
We would love to leave her alone, Emma, but she won't let us leave her alone. She's constantly putting her face in our face. Constantly. The only way that this is going to stop all these articles, all this garbage, all these interviews, all this PR, the only way this woman is going to get deplatformed is if she doesn't have access to all this cash that she has, all this money. And she's dwindling her husband's legacy and his fortune so that she can constantly try to reposition herself and reframe her narrative to us and just be like, see, I'm actually really, really nice. I'm really nice. I have a Netflix show and I make like killer bath salts that like burn people's skin when they come in my house and take a bath. And I'm a mom and I read to my kids and I drive them to school. So I'm like really nice. And like I have rosé and spread and sauce and it's really yummy. And I actually care because I made all these recipes in my house and you need to buy them because I'm really nice. I'm really nice. I'm nice. She won't go away. That's the problem, Emma.
Part of you that ever is just like, just leave me alone.
Peaks and valleys. Peaks and valleys. No, I mean, like,
very elegant,
but it's true. Of course.
Peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. So when she was trying to prove herself to be a humanitarian in 2020, 2021, 2022-ish, how much PR money did she waste trying to do that? And then that didn't work. So now she's in her bespoke, authentic, genuine, warm homemaker era. How much money is she throwing at these PR teams and all these weirdos that are working around her? And they got to be weird working for this woman. Well, I guess they just want a paycheck like everybody else. But how much money is she wasting trying to convince us that she's supposedly the next Martha Stewart when she's really like a Chrissy Teigen, a mean Chrissy Teigen, blogger turned whatever. Ugh, please, come on.
Of course, I've gone through those chapters and do a lot of work. You do a lot of self-work and go, what's the why? It's happening for a reason. And
it's happening because you are a manipulator and you lie, in my humble opinion, and you disrespect, and you just made the late Queen and her husband, Prince Philip. You made their lives a living hell while they were laying on their deathbeds. And you're just not a nice person. That's the why, Meghan. And everything that she's done, she still gets to live in the lap of luxury and never, ever, ever have to worry about money ever again in her entire life. She could go away quietly, you guys. She could go away very, very quietly and pay attention to her handbag of a husband who is enabling her to do all this. So he is just as much as at fault as she is. And she could just concentrate on that fool and raising these phantom children that she won't show their faces. Just go do that. She doesn't want to. So as long as you're going to keep putting this drivel out, we are going to criticize it. And especially when you continue to lie and manipulate, in my personal opinion.
My dear friend Serena, who I'm sure you know.
I love Serena. She's like my girl crush. Talk about successful entrepreneur, by the way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's doing so well.
She said to me, I mean, she's literally, it's amazing that she can have like that type of career and then this type of business career.
I personally do not believe that this woman has friends. Narcissists don't have friends. They have props. They have props to build themselves up by association. Say, for example, if they're hanging out and mingling with people that they believe are higher in social status than they are, they try to glob on and associate with them so that they themselves appear more elevated in the public sphere and stuff, in social circles. So they'll use people in that sense, or they'll sometimes hang out and use people that they feel are beneath them to also elevate themselves and make themselves look better. So I do not believe that narcissists have truly deep friendships where they don't stand to gain anything from. They have to have an endpoint. Everything is transactional with these people.
I don't even know that people fully have grasped like how successful she is.
But also translating knowledge.
She's successful because she worked hard. She worked hard and she trained and she became a world champion. I don't know how many times over. So she had her own money in her own right, but then she also married someone also very wealthy. His name escapes me. And, you know, they pool their money together and she's doing what she's doing and she's investing in people. But people are more apt to want to align with Serena and have their names associated with her because she has public trust. The public see her as a hardworking athlete turned female entrepreneur. She has walked that walk. Meghan has not walked that walk. She's still in the building phase, but trying to portray it as if she's built this legacy brand like Apple or something. I mean, give me a break.
From the court and being dedicated and
all the things
to another avenue. It doesn't mean that you have to stay in one lane for your whole life. It means that you can translate those skills somewhere else. That's probably part of the magic. But she told me years ago, a lie can't live forever. 8 years is a long time, but not forever.
We're all lying about her, you guys, for 8 years. You've been a liar for 8 years. And so have I.
So how do you walk the line between owning your own narrative and feeding the frenzy? Because again, when you have a business, you need to go.
She feeds the frenzy, though. That's the whole point. By constantly paying PR teams and puff magazines like People and all this garbage that are constantly talking about her, she has to keep her name in the press no matter what is going on with this little Etsy type business she's got going on, you know? And you cannot tell me that it's a real business. For example, if people are going on a website, placing an order and being charged for a product that does not exist. I mean, most reputable websites, you go and place an order and you get charged when it is fulfilled and shipped. That's when you get charged. She's charging people on items that are not fulfilled nor shipped. Something's wrong here. This is very sketchball. This is not a real business. So that's why she has to keep her name out there, because she knows that eventually the scam jam house is going to crumble.
So how for you are you able to toe the line?
I think it's a fine line, but it's also setting up boundaries, which I would say to anyone, no matter what your experience has been. You set boundaries of where you're comfortable, and it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, I'm not comfortable answering that.
But she doesn't answer anything. That's just the thing. She has so many people out there criticizing the brand. And the number one thing they're criticizing is, how many units did you sell, Meghan? Are you really using this scarcity marketing? Are you doing this on purpose? What's going on? Why are people being disappointed and over and over and over, and they can't buy stuff? What's going on with the whole bullying allegations? She's constantly talking about truth, her authentic truth. So if you're wanting truth getting out there, then allow these people a voice. And the people that have criticized you and called you a bully and accused you of things, let them have their truth. Let them speak. She doesn't want that.
It's okay to pivot.
Oh, yeah.
And to really get to the place where you don't feel as though you have to explain yourself. And I think that comes.
A narcissist never feels like they have to explain themselves because they never do anything wrong. So that right there is completely nonsensical thing for her to say, because when you don't feel like you do anything wrong, then you don't really feel like you ever have to explain yourself. This is how these people think. She doesn't owe you an explanation, okay? She doesn't even owe you the shipping costs back, okay? Let's just stop asking.
With time, maturity, work, support surrounding you.
Mm-hmm.
But also to be authentic. I don't think there's any value either in being so rehearsed and just having your talking points and just saying the thing. No, just talk.
I'm sorry, what? I spit water all over myself. I'm sorry, you guys. Did she say authentic and you don't have to go and have talking points? She knows what people like me say about her, because it's true. Every single interview is the same thing. It's the same thing because she sticks to the same script, the same talking points. You know how sometimes you can watch a celebrity be interviewed on different outlets by different people, and every interview is different because they don't show up with an agenda. They don't show up with talking points. They don't say to the interviewer, do not talk about this, or this. Of course, she tells her interviewers that they cannot bring up certain things. Of course, all questions are vetted ahead of time. That's why all these interviews of hers all sound exactly the same. And she's just dancing around these certain things and these certain topics and her little platitudes and her little things. That's why it doesn't come across as authentic. When you watch other celebrities be interviewed, you can see that sometimes they're asked a question where they're like, oh yeah, okay. But they'll just answer it. And every interview that they do, it's different depending on what's going on, who's interviewing them, because they're being real. She doesn't do that. That's why people say this kind of stuff about her, but she don't get it. She doesn't get it.
It's just not the time for it. I think that there is an element of where we are in culture right now that, like it or loathe it, we crave authenticity. Like we want.
Exactly. Emma knows. Meghan doesn't. See, look at that face. When she said people are craving authenticity, and that's Meghan's face, kind of like, that's the face she made during the wedding in May 2018. I knew something was off with that woman when I saw her, first of all, enter the church in dazzling white with a veil like she was a virgin of 19, a la Diana. She was an American divorcee, middle-aged, 35, 36 years old, however old she was. So give me a break, okay? And then to have that face during the entire wedding, come on. I mean, you watch William and Catherine's wedding, and there are points during their wedding where they're kind of looking like, because they're not trying to manage their emotions so strenuously. Like, people have a public facing persona, and of course they maintain decorum and they don't just say everything that they think. That's just being a human being. But these narcissists, with this facade management that they do, it's constant. It's like a constant dialogue in their head where they're almost cosplaying human beings, and they have to, it's like you can hear them thinking. It's so weird, like smile. It's creepy. And that face right there, that is not a face that anybody trusts. That's why she's not jiving with anybody.
Want those people that we believe, rightly or wrongly, are telling us the truth.
Yes.
And so I feel like there is no point in having rehearsed lines and a narrative that is like, fully, written out that isn't.
You're talking to one of those people right now, Emma. Do you not realize it? Or maybe she does realize it and she's kind of like needling her a little bit. Maybe Emma's a little more savvy than we're giving her credit
Your
for.
own. You have to be authentic.
Just be authentic. Did you see my baby mama dance?
I mean, stop.
Now, see the baby mama dance. Did you see my baby mama dance? Because she did it in an effort to appear authentic, even though it was clashing with this refined, warm, homey vibe she's trying to portray with the Netflix. But she got desperate because she's just constantly in her head. She doesn't have a plan. What can I do? What can I do? Lily's birthday is coming up. What can I do? Let's not make it about Lily, though. Let's make it about her being pregnant with Lily. And let's dance like we are a sorority chick in college. Yeah, that's really dignified as a Duchess. So she's using that to say, oh, yeah, I'm authentic. See? So let's watch this. I'll shut up for a second.
Authentic.
Just be authentic. Did you see my baby mama dance?
I mean, stop it. First of all, can I just tell you the timing of that?
She's really, really satisfied with herself with that thing. And I did a whole video on that too, about how disgraceful that was. And I don't know, that Made in Chelsea reality star that posted them twerking and doing that little dance in Buckingham Palace or wherever the heck they were. And then the royal family's Instagram responded back with those eye emojis saying, I see you. I kind of get what the royal family was trying to do in response to it. I was one of those people where I was like, why are you even dignifying that with a response? I guess it's their effort to try to be authentic too and kind of jive with the peeps. But I don't know. I don't know why they did that really, but okay, whatever. But a lot of people were saying that they were glad that the royal family did that because it was giving side eye to what Meghan did. But still, they don't even need to address that. The best thing you could do to a narcissist like Meghan is ignore them. That's the best thing you can do.
We maybe watched it like 20 times yesterday. And I was like, is that her?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's how she got so many views. People were literally probably watching it at least 3, 4, 5 times. Is this who I think it is? This is the woman who is clinging to a Duchess title from the UK for dear life with her, bloody fingernails. But yeah, this is how she goes and acts.
It's Harry there with the fingers and the. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, get on Harry, let's go.
But I think
But that's you, right? Like that's you in a way that.
That's not her. She's performing. If that really was her, she wouldn't have published it on her social media if it really was her. Because you don't have to prove every single moment all the time to justify your existence for whatever reason. Why do you feel compelled constantly to prove something to all of us? Well, because she's in the prove it game, obviously.
We kind of haven't been able to see you before. And I did like a little secret cheer because I was like, well, that's what I kind of want to see from you. Like I want to see that happiness and that honesty and that, like, I don't give a fuck.
But also, by the way, that wasn't yesterday.
No,
that was 4 years ago.
Yeah. Here's my point even more. It's so calculated. Like she's going back in her reserve of photos and videos and something from 4 years ago. Oh, this is something good to post. So if you were such a wonderful hands-on mother, you would have a bank of photos and a bank of videos that are recent that you could share with us that have something to do with your daughter, not you. So that's even more proof that this is so completely calculated because she has to go back into the archives to pull this stuff up to prove that she's authentic. She's such a mess.
So it's also a really great reminder that with all the noise or whatever people do, there's still a whole life, a real, authentic, fun life that's happening behind the scenes. I'm just grateful that now being back on social as well, I have a place where I can
That post
share.
has nothing to do with your daughter, Meghan, though. That post had, look, I love when I pause these faces, but that post had nothing to do with her daughter. That post had everything to do with trying to get her mug out there even more. And all it did too was feed more speculation and rumors into the fact that did she indeed carry these children? I was a mom of twins, pregnant with twins. So I was even bigger than what she's showing, but it just looked weird. It looked rumpled. To me, it looked like she had tissue paper under there. She didn't do herself any favors, but she's so desperate. She has to portray herself as being authentic. Please, you're desperate is what you are.
On my own
woman.
terms.
On your own terms. You've really embraced social.
Well, everything is on their own terms. For a narcissist, everything is on their terms. And she's going to dictate her terms to everyone around you. Or around them, rather.
Media. Do you enjoy it or does it feel like a bit of a drag?
No, it doesn't feel like a drag. It feels liberating. I have to look again. What was my intention? I came back, started the account in January of this year.
There she goes sniffing. I started it in January. The Instagram that she's showing us, it looks like how Instagram used to look when it got really big, like 2015, 2014-ish in there. And it's all really impersonal stuff. Her like running, her always with the head back, or like blurry or weird, but it's not really real. And then I talked about this in my other video. And then when she does attempt to make it real, she shoves the camera in her face at these weird angles and everything's grainy and weird. And then she acts like she doesn't know how to use a phone. Like, this does not scream authenticity to me. It screams desperation.
Was it only January?
Yeah.
Oh.
The last time I was...
See her face? Like, yeah, it was only January. As if to say, like, yeah, it's such a success and it's only been January.
On social, Boomerang was around.
Oh, Lord.
It's been a minute. There was no stories. All of it's new. There were no gadgets where you could have a little tripod.
Yeah, and she doesn't even know how to use stories. A lot of times on her stories, she'll repost something from her grid into her story. And I apologize if you don't use Instagram or understand what that is. I rarely go on Instagram anymore either, but stories are supposed to be off the cuff, quick videos that you make to give from a business standpoint if you're trying to use Instagram for business, which is what, in my opinion, she's trying to do for both the As Ever official Instagram profile and also her personal Meghan Instagram profile. I believe she's using both of them for business. And you'll see her talk about how she doesn't think of her personal Instagram as something that she's using for business. And she tells Emma that, but then we'll see that she has been cross-posting. But the point being, her stories are weird. Even when she is trying to film herself, she looks weird and they're kind of creepy. Like, she looks like a hostage. And then when she does do her grid, they're still bright and looking like Pottery Barn catalog type. So the whole thing, she's still strategizing like she would 10 years ago. And she's not listening to anybody. Whoever she has around her, she don't listen to.
That I'm sitting, you should see me sitting there trying to figure with a magnet on it. I was like, oh, okay.
Yes.
And figuring I don't have key lights and I don't have all this business yet, but I'm just, I don't know if you need it. I think if part of it is just being able to authentic.
Well, you do kind of need it, especially when she's filming a story where she's communicating stuff about her brand, because they're not lit well. And she's always cutting off half of her face and all this kind of crazy madness. You can buy super, super inexpensive lights off of Amazon. And so many content creators have really, really minimal equipment. A lot of us just use our phones. I use a Sony camera, but that's only as I got more into it. But she's trying to play it off as if she doesn't really think about it and she's so authentic. But you probably should think about it a little bit more. Light your face up a little bit more if you're trying to talk to people, because you can still be authentic. But people want to see you. They want to see you talking to them. I mean, there's so many YouTubers. We have semi-decent lights and we turn on the camera and we're lit up so you can see us and we'll talk to you. But I don't know. She's just so weird. She's so confusing, you guys. She's like a walking, talking contradiction.
Share in real time the things that are happening that I think someone might be able to laugh with or enjoy or be inspired.
You mean laugh at, more like
inspired by, then I want to do that in a way that feels like I can still have my hands on it and not be overproduced.
But are you thinking about it in the way that so many of us do as also a business tool?
Not for my personal account.
Really?
No. For my personal account?
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's the one we're all following.
Well, good.
You see how she's like, no. Yeah. You talk about your business all the time on your personal. And when she did that whole weird video where she was announcing As Ever, you remember back when, was this March? Where the ones where she's like touching and scratching herself and like adjusting herself, and Harry supposedly filming her and he's, are you ready? And all that stuff. She was talking about As Ever on her Meghan page. So why does she lie like this? Because we know that she talks about her business on her Meghan page. And so what? So what? It's your freaking page. Do whatever you want. Why do you feel like you have to explain yourself or make excuses or try to differentiate between the two as if you're so much better than that? This is why people don't like her.
That's
a
the
lot
one
of
that we're
following
like,
As Ever
just
too.
dropped.
No, I think for me, it was a great way to get my voice back.
Yeah, you have to.
Get my voice back.
How many of you get so ticked off like I do when she talks about finding her voice and getting it back. This woman has had a microphone in her hand since before she joined the royal family, but after that, she was always pushing Harry out of the way. She was always talking all the time. She gave all these interviews when she left. Even during the pandemic, they were out there on these Zooms and releasing these press releases. This woman has never shut up. Is there something that you could say that could convince me that she didn't have her voice? I don't think so. I don't think so. We're all in agreement here. She has her voice. And she's not afraid to use it.
It's my space and my channel for joy. That is the intention of my handle.
Well, I think that your voice carries such unbelievable influence. I remember a time where you were like, step out with a sweater, the sweater would sell out. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel?
Now she's going to start justifying how she merches everything. Yeah. What do you guys think about all this? I think this is great fodder for self-reflection for all of us, We need to say a prayer for this woman and her husband, and for those children that are supposedly in their care, that they will stop this crazy train. And let's say a prayer for ourselves, that when we look at people like this, that, we're not criticizing her gender or her race. We're criticizing the behavior, but we have to keep calling this stuff out. And it's important to do so because people like this want influence. They want our eyeballs and they want our wallets. And when they carry on like this, we cannot just hand them over. Well, we can hand over our eyeballs, but we can repay it with the type of stuff that you see out there where people are offering valid criticism, insightful criticism, and calling people out and asking for accountability. If you don't ask for accountability, you will never receive it. We can't pacify these people and just allow them to continue to do what they do. And the other side of that coin is just praying for them and hoping that they see the light, that this is an empty, hollow, shallow existence, and this is not the way to happiness. Yeah, just sad, just very, very sad. So thank you guys so much for taking the time. I am going to cut this off here and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.